Hey, book lovers, welcome to While I Read. I'm Katie, and today I'm going to talk about the best thrillers to read while you're on summer vacation. So it's summer, it's time for road trips. Maybe you need a book to read in the car while you're driving. Maybe you need a book to read on the plane. Maybe you just need something to relax with while you're at the beach. I generally think of summer books, summer thrillers, as books that you can just read really quickly that just sort of make the time go by and just really suck you in and keep you interested the whole time. So I've got a great list here. As always, all the books that I talk about will be linked on my channel. If you purchase that book, I'll get a small percentage of the proceeds at no extra cost to you if you click the link that I posted. That's just a way you can support my channel if you're interested. Let's go ahead and get started. The first book that I'm going to talk about that's perfect to binge during a summer vacation is One Perfect Couple by Ruth Ware. This book came out last summer. It's about a scientist named Lila whose boyfriend Nico talks her into going to film this reality show on this sort of deserted island, just in the middle of nowhere. And so it's a reality show for couples. And of course, the name of the show is One Perfect Couple. And the premise of the show is that these couples are all there. They compete in various challenges, and then one of them is chosen as the perfect couple and they win a cash prize. Lila does not really want to do it, but Nico is an aspiring actor and he talks her into it. So they go on this reality show. And so during their first night, well, first of all, when they first get there, things seem kind of sketchy, like maybe the show is not as professional, or maybe some of the things that they were expecting are not happening. Some unexpected things are happening. So then the very first night that they're there on that island, this huge storm blows through. The people who are on the island lose contact with the show's producers who were staying on a ship during the night, and they lose contact with everyone. They can't communicate with anybody. So they're just stuck there on this island. So then some strange things start happening. Some people start dying. So they don't know, some of the deaths, could be related to the storm. Maybe they're natural causes, but of course they start suspecting that somebody on the island is actually picking people off. This was just a really exciting book. It really examines like the nature of reality shows, why we like them so much, the nature of human relationships, what people will do to gain power, how they'll take advantage of a bad situation like the one the people on the island are in. It's sort of a tribute to And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, but very different from that book. So definitely a good beachy book because it's set on the island, to read while you're on vacation. Next, I'll tell you about Retreat by Kristen Ritter. This is about a beautiful con artist named Liz Dawson. She ends up in this Mexican villa on this beautiful beach retreat community called Punta Mita. And she is supposed to be there working for this woman named Isabel. And Liz is installing this piece of art for Isabel. And Isabel has told her that she can live there in her retreat. She can take advantage of all of the amenities in this resort community. So at first, Liz is there, just doing this job that she was hired kind of under false pretenses, because I don't think she's really an expert in art, but she is there just to do the job. But then people start mistaking her for Isabel. Some of the people just haven't met Isabel before. Others have, and she does kind of look like Isabel. So she just goes with it and starts pretending that she is Isabel, who seems to have this glamorous life. But as Liz gets deeper and deeper into this con, she starts realizing that, of course, Isabel had some secrets that could end up being pretty dangerous to Liz. So this was great with this luxurious community. There are lots of pool scenes and beach scenes. There's a party at the resort. So it was just a really great summer read. I think you would love to read this very quickly while you're lying on the beach. Another book that is perfect to read in the summer is The Midnight Feast by Lucy Foley. This book takes place at the opening weekend for this new resort called the Manor. So the Manor is this just lavish, very luxurious resort where the very rich can come and stay. The opening weekend is over the summer solstice, and the Manor is near this little town in England. And so the people who are there, these very rich people, it's so expensive that no one who actually lives nearby could afford to go there. And a lot of the townspeople don't really like it. But there are some of them who are employed there to help as cooks or, with cleaning services, that kind of thing. So we know from the very beginning that during this luxurious party for the opening weekend, someone dies, but we don't know who yet. And of course, we don't know who killed them. Lucy Foley is the queen of multiple points of view. So we get chapters from the point of view of the woman who owns the manor and is opening it. We get the point of view of this young man who's working there. I think he works in the kitchen or maybe as a bartender. We get points of view from a cleaning lady. We get points of view from a guest who may have some mysterious secrets in her past. It's so good. It's such a great description of this hot summer weather and this luxurious infinity pool, these beautiful old trees, and this ancient land that some people feel that people at the manor are desecrating. It's just a really great summer book. Takes place over midsummer. So it's just the perfect book to read during the summer, wherever you're going. The Second Husband by Kate White is another great summery thriller. Kate White has a lot of really good thrillers set in the summer. The Fiance is probably my favorite, but I've never talked about The Second Husband here, and it is a really good one. So it's about a woman named Emma. Her first husband was murdered, and at the time that this book starts, I think it's been like 2 years since his murder. She was, of course, devastated by it, but she's rebuilt her life. She is remarried now, and her new husband, Tom, seems great. But then, out of the blue, the police show up at Emma's door, and they're looking into her first husband's murder again. It was never solved. So, as they start looking into it, they start asking her some questions about her second husband, Tom. And they find out some things that Emma was not aware of about Tom. For instance, he may have known who Emma was back when she was married to her first husband. So she starts questioning her relationship with Tom and basically everything about this life that they've built together. This book takes place during the summer. There are some big scenes that take place in this house that they own on a beach. I think it's like on an island. They have to ride a ferry to get to it. They go on lots of fun summer outings like bike rides and that kind of thing. So it's just a good, twisty, quick thriller that takes place in summer. So maybe if you're just kind of on a staycation or on the drive to the beach, this will be a great one to read. Another one you should read this summer is Dark Corners by Megan Golden. So, this book is about a podcaster named Rachel Kroll. She has this very popular true crime podcast. The FBI brings her in because this influencer named Madison visited a guy who is in prison in Miami. And the next day, the influencer disappeared. So the guy that she was visiting was never able to be convicted as a murderer. He was convicted on something else and had to serve some time in prison, but they're pretty sure that he is a murderer. They don't really know why Madison visited him, and they don't really know exactly how Madison ended up disappearing, but they think that the guy in prison had something to do with it. So, and he wanted to meet Rachel Crawl because she's well known as somebody who her true crime podcast is very well known. A lot of people who are incarcerated know about it and know that she has some influence and might be able to help them prove their innocence if they are innocent. So she ends up going to BuzzCon, which is this big like party for influencers at a resort hotel in Miami. And she's trying to find out more about Madison. So what they end up discovering is that the guy who's in prison may have an accomplice on the outside, and they may be after Rachel as well. This book is a great summer read because it takes place in Miami. There are a lot of scenes of Rachel by the pool or like on the beach with these lavish parties that she's going to. It's a very quick read, very twisty and fun. It is the second book in the Rachel Crawl series. I read the first one, Night Swim, and I didn't like it as much, kind of because of the subject matter. It has a little darker subject matter, but it was a good book. But you could read this one without reading that one. Nothing from that first one is spoiled in Dark Corners. It just mentions that was another podcast that she did. So I definitely recommend Dark Corners as a fun vacation-y read. Next, I want to recommend Middle of the Night by Riley Sager. So actually, a lot of Riley Sager books could be considered great summer reads. The House Across the Lake is probably my favorite. But I've talked about The House Across the Lake a lot before on this channel, and I haven't talked about Middle of the Night that much. And it is a really good summer read. It came out last summer, and it's about this man named Ethan. So Ethan is 40 years old now, and he's returned to the house where he grew up on this quiet little cul-de-sac in a neighborhood called Hemlock Circle. 30 years ago, when Ethan was 10, he and his best friend Billy were having a camp outside on a July night, and Ethan went to sleep. They both went to sleep. When he woke up the next morning, there was a hole sliced in the tent and Billy was gone. Billy was never seen again. So, of course, this has affected Ethan's whole life. So he's come back to his hometown. He's kind of going through a hard time and he's staying at the house where he grew up. He's staying there alone. And he starts running into people that he knew. You know, there are still some people from back then who were living in the neighborhood, some of his old friends or some of the parents of his old friends. He starts having some strange things happen, like maybe Billy is still alive and is playing jokes on him. Maybe it's a ghost, because we know Riley Sager will go there with the supernatural things. So we just don't know. So part of what I loved about this book was the 90s nostalgia. Billy's disappearance happened in 1994. So there are a lot of mentions of things from the 90s, like The Lion King, the movie The Lion King. You know, they had gone to see it recently, so because it was the summer that it came out. Or the O.J. Simpson car chase is mentioned. Just all kinds of things that I remember from being a kid back in 1994. So I love the 90s nostalgia. This book also has a lot of Stranger Things vibes to me, even though that takes place in the 80s. But sort of some of the things that Ethan starts investigating that happened. There's like a corporation that kind of does some strange things that Ethan starts looking into. That reminded me of Stranger Things. So it's just a really good summer book. If you grew up in the 90s like I did, it's going to have some great nostalgia for you. And it's a really quick read. Count My Lies by Sophie Stava is another great vacation read. So it's about a woman named Sloane Caraway who describes herself as a compulsive liar. She lies just to make her boring life a little bit more interesting. So one day she is in the park and she hears this little girl crying, and the girl has gotten a bee stinger in her foot. So Sloane tells the girl's very attractive dad that she is a nurse and she helps the girl get the stinger out of her foot. Well, then Sloane ends up becoming a nanny for this little girl. The couple are Jay and Violet Lockhart. They're the girl's parents, and they seem to live this charmed life. They have this very nice brownstone where they live. They have, the perfect little girl. They spend summers in a house on Block Island. But as Sloane starts nannying for them, she realizes they may have some secrets and she may not be the only liar in this scenario. So, this book is described as a read in one night thriller. It's just a really quick read. A lot of it takes place on Block Island during the summer. And so there's lots of, trips to the beach and descriptions of the sunscreen and all of that kind of thing that just makes me think of summer. I read it very quickly. It had some twist in it that surprised me. So I think you'll really like this one. Next, The Last Ferry Out by Andrea Bartz. So this book is about a woman named Abby. Her fiance Esther was on this island, the La Isla Colel, which is off the coast of Mexico. And while she was there, she died, seemingly of some kind of allergic reaction to something. So Abby has come here to this island. She's really grieving and she wants to kind of retrace the last days of her fiance. So while she's there, she meets this community of expats who knew her fiance. And so she's talking to them about Esther. And she finds out that although these people seem like they're really nice, they may actually be hiding some things about her fiance's death. So this book is perfect for summer vacation because it's set on this island. There's lots of hanging out at the beach. They find this bioluminescent bay that is just beautifully described. Of course, there's a big storm coming in this one too. That's always a trope that I enjoy. So definitely a quick read for a summer vacation. So next I have two books to talk about. Every time I go on vacation, someone dies, and its sequel, No One Was Supposed to Die at This Wedding by Catherine Mack. By the way, it's thundering outside. I don't know if y'all could hear that, but there's a little thunderstorm happening here. So these two books, I just read the first one back in May. The second one came out this month, June, and I read it and really enjoyed both of them. So in the first one, every time I go on vacation, someone dies. It's about an author named Eleanor Dashwood, and she is on a trip to Italy to promote her latest book. So she has this book series where it's sort of a fictionalized version of some adventures that she really had with this man named Connor in Italy, where they supposedly solved like a series of bank robberies together. And she turned it into this whole series where she writes about Connor and herself, although I think she has a different name in the book, maybe Cecilia. And they're solving these mysteries, and they go to all of these different exotic locations to solve mysteries. She's really tired of writing this series. She's tired of Connor. She doesn't have a good relationship with him anymore. But she's gone to Italy to promote her latest book. But while they're in Italy, Connor tells her that he thinks someone is trying to kill him. Then people who are on the trip with them start dying, and it's possibly murder. So Eleanor has to figure out what's going on. So it was just a really good book. I listened to the first one on audio, and the audio version was great. So I read the second one, No One Was Supposed to Die at This Wedding. In this one, Eleanor is at the wedding of her best friend, which is on this island off the coast of California, Catalina Island. There's a big storm coming, a hurricane, but they decide to go ahead with the wedding. They're isolated on this island. People can't really get to them from the mainland. And then some mysterious things start happening, some mysterious blackmail events. People start dying again. So both of these books were really good. I liked the first one a little better, but that may just be because I listened to it. And I think the second one would have been really good. I didn't have an audio copy of it, but It was still good. One of the things the author does is she has footnotes. And the footnotes are just like funny little asides where she breaks the fourth wall and speaks directly to the reader. In the audio version, I loved it. When I was reading the second one on my Kindle, the footnotes, even though I liked them, they were a little annoying because I'd have to click on the little footnote on my Kindle and read it and then go back to the regular story. So audio is a good way to listen. But both of these books, they're set in exotic locations in Rome and on an island, and they're fun and beachy, perfect for a quick, exciting summer read. The last book I want to recommend for summer vacation reading is Summers at the Saint by Mary Kay Andrews. This book is not really a thriller, but it is a murder mystery, and it's perfect to read during the summer. It's set at this hotel on the Georgia coast called the Saint. And this woman named Tracy is the owner of it. Growing up, she was actually the help at the Saint. She worked there, but she ended up marrying the boss's son, and now she owns it and manages it. But her husband died a few, I don't know, not too long ago, as the story's starting, maybe a year, maybe 2 years ago, something like that. And so she's trying to restore the Saint to its former glory days, but she's fighting an uphill battle. It is not attracting as many customers. They're just struggling with a lot of things in it. So for the summer, she has this one summer where she's trying to turn things around, and she ends up hiring all of these summer help people. One of the people that she hires turns out to be the daughter of Tracy's estranged best friend. Years ago, Tracy and her best friend were working at the Saint when there was a mysterious drowning in the pool at the hotel. So this summer, while Tracy is there and while she's hired all of these people, there ends up being a murder, and it may be connected to what happened so many years ago. This book was surprising for a Mary Kay Andrews book to me because generally I would classify her books as kind of romantic comedies. The fact that this had a murder I was surprised when I was reading it, but I did really enjoy it. It's set in Georgia. The hotel is on the beach. There's lots of descriptions of seafood and of like the dive restaurant that she likes to go to. Mary Kay Andrews is just perfect at describing Georgia people. These seem like people that I know. And it's got a great mystery to it. So definitely a good book for you to try this summer. So that's it for my recommended thrillers that you can binge during your summer vacation or staycation. I hope that you'll try some of these books. Please let me know what books you would recommend for great summer reading. Now, you go for a swim while I read.